Hey there, Namaste babies. I am here today to talk to you about animal versus plant proteins. First of all, I get that this is a really confusing topic because for so long, a lot of us learned that we need to have animal protein to be a part of a healthy diet. But the more research that comes out, the more we look into this and do studies, the more we realize that's just not true. Plants are full of protein. In fact, every single plant, whether it's nuts, grains, seeds, legumes, beans, fruits, and vegetables, all contain protein or amino acids in different quantities. So eating a whole food plant-based diet is actually very packed with protein and more than enough for the average healthy person. So in this call, I'm going to share 3 reasons why plant protein is actually superior to animal protein, and also some sources of some high protein plant-based foods. So the first point here is that our actual protein requirements are not as high as you might think. So unless you are a bodybuilder and you're building tons of muscle, you don't need to be eating 200 grams of protein a day. So the actual requirement for an adult is 0.8 to 0.9 grams of protein per kilogram of ideal body weight. So we're not talking about the body weight of an obese person, right? We're talking about ideal body weight for your height and for your demographic. So what that looks like is a 150-pound person or a 68-kilogram person is going to eat approximately between 54 to 67 grams of protein a day, which is not actually that much. And that's super easy to get in a plant-based diet and actually exceed. So we are more likely as humans to suffer from excess protein than we are to suffer from protein deficiency. The adverse effects of long-term excess protein in your diet is so much worse than having, a little bit less than what you might aim for. So basically some of the negative side effects of having too much protein in your diet and focusing too heavily on protein for a long period of time is going to be bone and calcium deficiencies. We're talking about like kidney function issues, increased risk of different types of cancer, as well as disorders of your liver, and then worsening of coronary artery disease. So those are pretty major, and that's what happens when we have too much protein. So we really don't need to be focusing on how much protein we're getting, and that goes for the bodybuilders as well. So fun little fact here, those who are eating a healthy plant-based diet, so I'm not talking about cookies and Oreos and cakes and all that, people who are eating a whole food plant-based diet are actually estimated to eat approximately twice the average daily requirement of protein. So that's pretty cool. The second point that I'd like to talk about here is that animal protein negatively affects your stress hormones. And stress hormones and inflammation are both interconnected, but when we're talking about stress hormones in relation to our health and relation to our weight, it's a very negative thing. So a single meal high in animal protein can nearly double the number of stress hormones in the blood within 30 minutes of consumption. So that's crazy. That's animal protein. And there have been studies that have shown that plant proteins, so if we're talking like beans, for instance, do exactly the opposite. They actually reduce your stress hormone levels. We do not want to have stress hormone levels. That's actually a call for a whole other day. We don't want to have high stress hormone levels all of the time. That can seriously affect our metabolism and also our mental health aside from that. So maintaining high cortisol levels is linked to increased risk of elevated insulin, so that's your blood sugar regulator, triglycerides, and cholesterol. And not to mention, plant protein has plants don't have cholesterol in them. So if you're concerned about your cholesterol levels, blood pressure, anything like that, then actually switching to a more plant-based diet is going to help to reduce any kind of inflammation that we see in the arteries or any types of issues we see with blood sugar and blood pressure. So the last point here is that plant proteins have a wide range of nutrients in them. So that's really awesome. So let's say that we take somebody eating the Atkins diet. Let's throw that one under the bus today, which is super high amounts of animal proteins for a sustained period of time. And we take that person versus the person who's eating a whole food plant-based diet. The person who is eating the Atkins diet, super high protein and not enough of the the other nutrients that are part of a wholesome diet, they're going to start to see deficiencies in certain areas of their life. And it's not something that you can sustain for years upon years upon years, whereas you can sustain a plant-based diet for a very long time. So when we're talking about a wide range of nutrients in plant foods, I'm talking everything from antioxidants, which are going to help with signs of aging. Antioxidants help to reduce our inflammation. Antioxidants are like the most amazing sort of nutrient out there. So they're full of antioxidants, they're full of fiber, and that's another thing that most of us do not get enough of. So earlier when I said that most people on a whole food plant-based diet average double the amount of protein we actually need, the people who are on a whole food plant-based diet are also more than doubling the amount of fiber that we need in our diet. So fun fact about that actually, the average North American person eats less than half the recommended daily amount of fiber. And again, fiber is a whole topic for another day, but this is another reason why the plant-based diet is a way superior to an animal protein diet. So when we're talking about other nutrients in there, there's antioxidants, there's lots of fiber, and there's also lots of B vitamins and other amazing nutrients and minerals that are going to help to support your health journey and also make you feel amazing from the inside out. It's crazy what happens to your skin, your hair, your nails, your mood when we focus more on whole foods that are plant-based. So as I promised, there are some recommendations of high protein plant-based foods for all of you out there who are curious and you want to get a little bit more protein in your diet. So for instance, 1 cup of cooked beans, and I'm going to go through a list here. So if you want to take notes, feel free. I will transcribe this video later and then I'll have the transcriptions up for you. But kidney beans, 1 cup of cooked kidney beans is 43 grams of protein. So remember, the average adult person at 150 pounds needs anywhere from 50, what was it? Actually, I've got the number here, from 54 to 67 grams. So 1 cup of cooked kidney beans is almost your daily recommended amount of protein. That is insane. Pinto beans, 41 gram. Chickpeas are 39 grams. Tempeh per 1 cup is 33 grams. Soybeans, 31 gram. Tofu per 1 cup is 20 grams of protein. Lentils, 18 grams of protein. Black beans, 15 grams. Quinoa, which we look at very often as being a grain, so we look at it as being a carb food. Quinoa is actually also a whole protein. And quinoa contains per 1 cup 8 grams of protein, which is awesome. You can combine that with like other beans or tofu or tempeh or whatever else you wanted to combine that with for an extra bonus. Even spinach, 1 cup of spinach, raw spinach, has 5 grams of protein in it. So that's pretty phenomenal. And then finally, nuts and seeds also have their own protein in them. You don't want to go too crazy on the nuts and seeds, and I think that's for obvious reasons. They're very dense, they're very oily, and they can feel really heavy when you have too many of them. But for reference on how much protein is in nuts, 1 ounce, which is about 2 to 3 tablespoons of nuts, has anywhere between 8 to 18% of your daily value of protein. So all of that to say, plant proteins are so underrated. And honestly, the whole topic of protein is very misunderstood. We don't need to be eating hundreds and hundreds of grams of protein a day, and we absolutely do not need to be getting our protein from animal sources. Plants have more than enough in them for all of us. So I just wanted to mention that I have an ebook that is coming out. If you are on my list, on my newsletter list, you would have already received it first. I'm going to be launching that ebook in the next week. So for those of you who are interested, feel free. You can drop your email either in a DM, or if you want to leave it in the comments here, and I can add you to that list and send out the ebook next week. Otherwise, stay tuned, and I look forward to seeing you on the next Wellness Wednesday at 1. Bye.